It's the best learning from the best. 5 pro makeup tips for beginners. These tips are actually from Nikki La Rose and I'm gonna try them. I certainly do certain things, but for a few I was quite surprised. For beginners, first tip is how to do your eyeliner like a pro. When you're in a makeup school, you're actually learning how to do eyeliner as quickly as possible, and this is like a time-consuming thing to do. But if you're not a pro, this looks like it could be an easy, very simple way of doing it. And I'm very curious with my hooded eyes if this is going to work, so let me try it out. The first thing that she's saying is very obvious to me, but maybe not to you, so you should always look forward into your mirror when doing your eyeliner. You shouldn't bend over or like do different angles with your face because you really want to see how your eye is actually gonna look like. So I'm using from Lisa Eldridge Seamless Glide Eye Pencil in the shade Burnt Amber.
Bad boy up. Okay, then you're gonna look straight ahead and you're just going to slowly draw in to your lash line. You're not closing. That's another big important thing. Do not close your eyes. Look straight ahead. Relax your eye, try to just chill out and gently bring the liner in. Now it's up to you how far across your eyelid you want to go. If you have small eyes, I would suggest stopping it a quarter of the way in to just get in there and get messy. And here's why. I'm going to teach you a pro tip on how to clean up your liner so it looks like a pro did it. Okay, next tool you're going to need a smudger brush. And you're just going to go back and forth and do not worry about if it's messy or not because you're going to clean it up. It's just about getting in there. So you're going to blend it back and forth and you're going to be blending in tight motions where you're not going like this and you're not going like in wide strokes. You're going to keep it in a tight blending technique. So little movement where you're going to blend it out. Next, you want to grab a like-minded powder eyeshadow. It can be a shimmer. However, I suggest a matte just for beginner purposes. So the same brush you use to smudge, you're going to dip in, tap off the excess, and then you're just going to trace on top. You're just going to trace right on top. You're going to lock in that gel liner. You're going to set into place. You're going to intensify it just a little bit. And again, don't worry about how thick this is. Don't worry about how low this is. The whole point of this technique is just to get in there, kind of make a mess. This is the funnest part. The funnest part is going in there and seeing the magic happen and cleaning this up.
Now, she recommends a very pointy Q-tip, which I don't have, and it's so hard to get it. Like in our drugstores, you cannot find them. I had them in my makeup kit, but I ran out and I should buy it, like restock from Amazon because I just cannot find those really pointy Q-tips in a regular store. So because of that, I'm gonna actually use an angled brush and a micellar water. And I hope it's going to work.
You're gonna take your Q-tip, pull it to the side, you're gonna angle it to the side, right? So it's just kind of going parallel. Look straight into your mirror, line it up, pull it out. So I'm not going in, pointed and going flicking or trying to like stab my eye with it. I'm laying it flat, I'm getting contact with my skin and then dragging it out.
You can see that it worked and you don't need those very pointy Q-tips. If you don't have them, you can still just use a very pointy, very small brush for that. And you can see that this technique was super easy. It takes you just a few seconds more, but you just cannot get it wrong. If you have hooded eyes, it's a little bit trickier, that's for sure. But I think that I've got quite a nice line. I just feel that with my eyes, it looks better if I create a longer flick at the end in the outer corner. I think this is a great tip, and because we used eyeliner and then eyeshadow on top, we really locked that eyeliner in so it's not going to smudge throughout the day. That's a very important tip as well. So I'm just gonna do my left eye and I'll be right back for the next tip. Okay, so the second pro tip, priming makeup brush for foundation application. And I was super intrigued by this one because I have never heard something like that. I have never heard something like that, like priming your brush. And I was super like curious, what does she mean? In what way you could prime a brush, you know? And it's actually very simple, and I have never thought of this. As you probably know, all MUAs are saying the same thing. Never apply foundation straight on your face. Always do it on the back of your hand. If you have some kind of a palette, apply it first on the palette and then on the skin. You can use, of course, beauty blender or brush, but this is a tip for a brush, and I'm quite bummed that I don't have the brush that I'm currently really loving for my foundation. It's not right here. It's in my flat in Ljubljana. So the first thing, apply foundation on the palette or on the back of your hand. What she means when she says priming your brush is essentially just rubbing in the product, which I'm quite lazy with that actually. I just go from the palette and then on the face, but she really wants you to rub it in, basically, to really get in the brush, and in that way you prime the brush. And she says that when the brush looks like it's been really dirty for a week, it means that it's prepared. And she claims that in that way it's going to stick to your face better, it's going to blend quicker. Yeah, it's going to, overall, it's going to look more natural, and it's going to more sunk into the skin. But also the technique of applying it, it's really important. So you almost need to like buff it in to really get into your pores.
Priming your brush first, you're going to end up having such a seamless blend on your complexion. It's going to look like second skin. It's not even going to look like you have foundation on. It's going to look like you just have it's like a second skin finish, which is obviously it's a little bit more ideal. Like we never really want to look like we have loads of makeup on, and this is what takes you from beginner level to looking like you had your makeup professionally applied.
Okay, so I actually really like this technique, and I think it makes sense. So you really need to take time with your makeup. If you want your makeup to look really good, you need time. It's all about layering, applying small amount, and then reapplying if you need to really take your time with the blending, with preparing your skin, then with the buffing. Everything is very, very important. I really didn't want to use for this trick the foundation that looks the best on me, and it's not the best foundation that I have. And it's also not the best foundation for really, really dry skin, which I have. And I think that the result looks just gorgeous. So let's go to the next tip. Okay, so pro tip is how to layer cream bronzer and powder brush. I'm gonna use actually from MILANI. This is Hey Honey Cheek Kiss Cream Bronzer. On top, I'm gonna use L'Oreal Le Blush 90 Luminous Rose Blush. It's this one. So of course you need to apply cream products before applying powder. So I'm starting with bronzer. She recommends smaller brush, so I'm just gonna use this one. This is from Real Techniques. This is a setting brush actually. She says never to apply product first on your face, so the same as with foundation. If you have bronzer or contour in a stick, never go directly on your face. With this type of formula, you need to melt it down at first. So essentially what you want to do is you want to take the product and melt it on the back of your hand so that it's really nice and prepared for your face, so you don't get straight from the packaging where it's cold and thick. Now that I've prepared the product, I'm gonna do the same as I did with my foundation. So I'm gonna really work in the product into the bristles. From that, I'm gonna go straight on my face. I don't have concealer on yet, and my eye look is still not done yet, but bear with me. And you always want to tap the product on. This is what she really, really wants you to, take from this video, you always want to just tap it on so you don't move your products underneath. So in this case, foundation. So always tap, 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 tap. So for the purpose of this video, I'm not gonna apply bronzer on my nose, and you will see why a little bit later. So the bronzer is done.
A very thin, very, very tiny, thin, small amount of loose setting powder. Because what that's gonna do, it's gonna lock your cream bronzer into place so then you can easily layer a powder blush on top. So just taking a little bit of the powder from Laura Mercier in the cap. Now this is just a translucent powder from Laura Mercier, and I'm gonna use the back side of that foundation brush that we used much earlier. So the back side of it is for powder. So I'm gonna use that powder side, dip into the cap, and then what you wanna do is just get a nice even layer all throughout the back of the brush. And for extra safe measure, because you don't need a lot, you just want to tap it into the palm of your hand. This is really going to evenly distribute that powder, so you're not going to apply it in clumps. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to like an even thin, light veil of powder, and you're just going to tap this on top of the bronzer. Not all over, but just where you know you're going to place the blush, which is going to be right here, just like that. Now we can move on to powder blush, and I'm so excited for this technique. And I'm not going in and aggressively buffing back and forth and swirling a bunch of product back and forth. You're just going to tap.
And I always went straight into the blush and really swirl it in, but here you don't want to actually do that. You just want to tap it on really gently, tap it again on your face.
You're going to just tap this on top, light pressure, and just tap it on top.
Because we don't want to mix blush with a bronzer. Pro tip number 4, how to contour your nose, and this one is a good one. Like, this is the thing that I hate, contouring my nose. I just feel that I cannot do it. So I'm so happy to try this technique. I want to have a contour shade, not a bronzer, because bronzer is too warm, too orangey, and it's not gonna work as a contour, because essentially what you're doing is creating a shadow which visually pushes back the thing, for example the nose, some features of the nose. It needs to be more grayish.
For a beginner and you want it to look like a pro did it, you're just gonna get it on. You're just gonna get this on to your nose. Okay, it's gonna look crazy at first. So next you wanna blend it out. You're just gonna run it back and forth like you would if you were just blending it on. So you're gonna run it back and forth. You're not going to drag it down and out. It's the last thing you want to do. Just blend it up and down. I like to connect it into the eye socket. Makes it really seamless. So bring it up if you would like to, and don't be afraid to just blend it out. Stripe it on, blend it out, and then this is the trick of all tricks. This is the holy grail. So the next product or next brush you're going to take is a very flat, very precise, is going to be essential in your makeup looking like a pro did it, okay? So take this, and you're gonna take any of your liquid concealers. So whatever concealer you use for under your eyes, you're gonna take that exact same concealer, the tip of the brush like that, and a little bit's gonna go a long, long way. I am just gonna go straight down. Just don't apply too much product. So we're gonna let this chill for a second. We're actually gonna let this self-set and dry down for just a little bit, because if I went in and blended it out right away, I would lose some of the control and some of the impact of the concealer. So we let this dry down. Let's say we'll give it a minute if you can.
I'm gonna line my lips so that this can dry down.
You're not gonna blend back and forth. What I want you to do first for a pro look, now you're just going to tap the product into the skin. This is going to secure it to your nose.
OMG. This is my new favorite thing. This was super easy. So pro tip number 5, the last tip is how to set your under eye concealer to last all day. I have here my Tower 28 concealer, and let's start. Okay, now take your liquid concealer, any concealer of choice. First of all, apply it where you need it the most. It's gonna be different for everyone. For me, for example, I have the most redness and pigmentation that I wanna cover right in this inner part of my under eyes. I like to lay it here, get a little lifty lift, which is always nice. I avoid this area right here because this is where I would crease the most. Okay, so when you're smiling, you'll see, I mean, I'm creasing here too, but like right here, it's gonna get really crackly, and we'll blend product into that area anyway, so you don't need to initially apply it there unless you actually do. So once again, another tip, find something else to do to utilize your time. The reason why you wanna do this is because it's gonna give you the most coverage. It's going to adhere to your skin really well. So rather just going in and blending it out right away, you'll be blending off a lot of the product and therefore taking away a lot of the impact of putting on a concealer anyway. I'm gonna finish my lips and I will probably do mascara as well. My lips are so dry, so I need something super hydrating, and this is gloss from Fenty. I'm gonna use Lash Clash from Yves Saint Laurent in the shade Brown. I love when I record my videos and my neighbors are literally talking right behind this wall, which is made from wood, so I hope you cannot hear everything. Okay, let's continue now.
I'm using a tapping motion, also known as my favorite method to apply all makeup is just to tap it on. So
if you go straight to the blending, you're gonna actually almost like swipe off all the concealer. So this is also a great tip. When you start blending after 1 minute, you don't need to right away blend it all. You just want to catch that window of before it completely dries down. But she really recommends loose powder, so because of that I'm gonna use this one with the magic powder from Tilbury, which is a really good powder, but for my really dry skin this is too much. I would need my Givenchy Prisme Libre, but I don't have it with me.
now you're gonna take a loose setting powder. If you want your concealer to truly last all day long, skip the pressed powder. That's not gonna give you the longevity. Loose powder is going to give you that all day set and that all day locked in effect. Now what you're gonna do is just swirl into the cap and you're gonna pick up a thin amount of powder. Tap off the excess, and this is gonna be your initial set, okay? So your initial set, and this is something I do on every client that sits in my chair. This is the initial set. It's a process. If you want your concealer to last all day, if you're a beginner, these are the tips you need to utilize. Don't drag it back and forth because you're gonna be dragging that on top of a wet product and it's gonna look streaky and it's just not gonna look good. It's not gonna look like a professional did it. And if you're a beginner wanting to look like a pro did your under eyes, this is how you do it.
I would just say here that if you have such a dry skin as I do, or if you are a mature lady, I would stop right there. I think this is going to work. I mean, this is going to work. I know this is going to work. It's going to set your under eyes for a full day. The next step, it's just going to be too much for you. Unless you have like Givenchy Prisme Libre, just saying.
So then you're gonna go back to the drawing board. You're gonna get another round of powder. I'm gonna get a much more generous amount. And then you're gonna press while looking up. Looking up is very important because you need to be able to get in under the eye and really get in any creases before they even happen. So by layering your translucent setting powder, you will get the longest wear out of your under eye concealer. So that's the second round of powder. Now lastly, lock it in. You gotta lock it in. So what this does is it takes away that edge of the powder. It cuts the edge of like that super powdery finish. Now, and then you need to bring moisture back into the under eyes. It's the best way to do it, okay? You're going to shake it up really well, tilt your head up, close your eyes, and lock in obviously your entire face, but make sure you get close to your under eyes. It's going to soften the powdery finish. It's going to settle the makeup into your under eyes and just make it last all day long.
These makeup tips are just great. I hope you're going to try them out. It's just so fun to learn from the best. I love her. I think she's gorgeous and I just cannot get enough of her videos, tips and tricks. Her voice, it's so calming and she's doing everything with such a passion. I really love watching her. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's for free, you don't need to pay anything. And if you want to, but only if you can thank me with the thanks button and donate me a small amount, so for a coffee or something like that. Have a lovely day, see you in the next video, and I think you're going to enjoy the next one.